So, what does a day in the life of our God look like? What do you think God is doing this very day to let you know how much He loves you? We're actually going to start at night. Because if you're like me, I'm normally watching reels and TikToks and all of that and YouTube shorts and all of that at night in my bed. So I want you to know exactly what is happening right now, right before you go to sleep, and how much God is doing to show His love for you tonight. And then we're going to work our way around the clock. Okay? So many of us have heard Psalm 127:2, where it says that God gives to His beloved sleep. And many of us need that reminder. We're laying awake at night, at least I am, freaking out about what has happened throughout the day or throughout the week, and freaking out about what might or might not happen in the future. And God just needs to remind us both that He gives us sleep and that He's got us and that we can rest in His arms. So many of us need that reminder. The Amplified Translation, though, I find this so interesting. It actually says that He gives to His beloved even while they sleep. So while you're sleeping, He is working on your behalf. He may be reminding that manager of what a great worker you are. He might be allowing your parents to break that addiction once and for all so that you can reconcile, and maybe even that they will be great grandparents to future generations. That would be amazing. He could be healing places of hurt or misunderstanding in your own life. He could be molding you into the person that He's called you to be. We don't know exactly how He's working on our behalf, but we can be assured that He is. But something that we know absolutely He is doing is He is singing over you. That is what it says in Zephaniah 3:17. He is rejoicing over you with singing. Isn't that cool? Our God is so enthralled with you that He cannot help but sing. He is excited about you. And if anyone comes in your vicinity, if their ear is tuned to Him, they're going to hear Him singing over you, songs about you. I love that. Most of us here are adults, right? But it's still really cool to think about how God could be cradling us in His arms, wooing us to sleep, and singing. I wrote a blog one time about how in the world did humans even come up with the idea of like rocking their babies and singing lullabies, and that it might actually be that we've just heard Him in our ear all of our lives. And so it was very natural for us to sing to our own children. That's just a neat thought. Song of Solomon 2, verses 3 and 4 says this: As an apple tree among the trees of the forest, so is my beloved among the young men. With great delight I sat in His shadow, and His fruit was sweet to my taste. He brought me to the banqueting house, and His banner over me was love. This is the woman talking about her beloved in this passage, and we can think of every other man or woman or person in our lives as a regular tree in the forest, right? They provide some comfort, but our God is compared to an apple tree or a fruit tree. Some translations say an apricot tree. So you're probably like, okay, big deal. Why do I care? Stay with me. Think about the regular trees like an oak tree, and think about the major difference between an oak tree and an apple tree. Kind of obvious, isn't it? One provides fruit, nourishment for us. That's the major difference. And so to me, that's what that verse means, is that God is the only thing that provides the nourishment that can satisfy our hunger. That's who our God is. Psalm 34:8 says, "Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who takes refuge in him." I'm going to grab my other note because I'm old school. So God is not only singing over us while he's giving us blessing upon blessing, he is offering us nourishment, true nourishment, and offering to fill places in us that only he can fill. This reminds me of the first home that my husband and I had the privilege of buying. Y'all, the yard was rough. The previous owner's dog loved to dig. And we didn't have a garage, and so we had to go through this minefield of a yard and try not to break our ankle every time we were walking, and especially like groceries, bringing in groceries and stuff like that. It was something else trying to get to the front porch through all of these holes in our yard. So what did we do? We went out and bought some soil, right? And we filled and we filled and we filled and we filled. And we tamped it down with every contraption you can imagine, even overfilled some of them, knowing that some of the dirt was going to dissipate. But y'all know what happened, right? The rains came, the floods rose, the snow, everything you can imagine. And what happened? Those holes reappeared. And that so reminds me of oftentimes in my own life of where I have tried to fill the empty places in my life with food, with a significant other, with drama, right? Or we could try to fill it with money or children or any kind of substance. But we know that that can only be filled with God. But wait, there's more. Did you catch in Song of Solomon 2 verse 4 where it says that God brings us into his house, into his banqueting hall, and he puts a banner of love over us? Well, at first I was like, okay, whatever. And I really looked up the word banner, and it literally means a piece of cloth bearing a motto. I was like, cool, that's cool. Then I thought, oh, a piece of cloth, like a blanket? And I kept looking stuff up, and banner also means a headline spanning the width of a newspaper. So it's not little, it's big. So he is not only holding you in his arms each night, singing over you, giving you blessing upon blessing while you sleep, he places his banner, his blanket over you, and then has inscribed on it your motto. His banner over you is love. That's right. I love that so much. I actually grew up with a song about it and never even realized where that came from. So I just love that so much. So his banner over you is love. This person is loved by me, is what it says to anybody that happens by. And you're like, well, who would happen by? It doesn't matter, right? God is so proud of you. He's not ashamed of you. Anyone who is listening can hear him singing. Anyone can see that his banner over you is love. And that's not all. Then Song of Solomon 5 verse 2 happens.